All right. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. This is Boston Jimmie, and you are watching Taking It to the Nub. This is episode 15, and I'm in a 3:05 mood tonight. That's why I look like this, okay? I got this 3:05. This is the Miami mood. And the reason I am like this is because my special guest tonight is Mr. Eddie Tarazona, owner of Tarazona Cigars. And some of you know who Eddie is. There are others that may not. Eddie's got to be the youngest looking, oldest brand owner I've ever known. So I'm going to bring Eddie in right now. Let's give a big round of applause to Mr. Eddie Tarazona. Eddie, what is up with you?
Doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me tonight.
How's that beautiful wife, Sophia, yours, and your baby doing?
They're doing well. He just finished eating, so I mean, nice, good old bottle of Enfamil. This is just so good, just so good and just sticky and horrible.
Don't you think
So,
maybe we should just drink that before we go to sleep? Might put us settle everything down.
No. Yesterday, and he was crying really bad all night. So normally I take the overnight duty so that Sophie could wake up in the morning and feel relaxed. I was really thinking about putting a little bit of whiskey up in that bottle. I was about this close.
You getting any sleep?
In the morning, so I'll go to sleep probably about 5 o'clock. So it's about, try and be up by 10 now. And with everything going on, I'll be honest with you, with everything going on, unfortunately, but it's been beneficial to us with the baby. So, and across the country, and not just country, states, municipalities, and all that, the phases. So it's not like we're going to be throwing an event anytime soon or, okay, whatever. So just been, visiting our local shops, get home, baby, probably about 9, 10 o'clock. Sophie goes to bed, and then I take over.
So you haven't been doing any, you're not on the road other than local shops right now?
Yeah, right now. Yeah, but call and see where they're at. Customers have been calling us across the country. So they don't have to call every little shop, which one's open, which one's not, what's that, what do they have? We've been calling the shops, asking them to fulfill it. Some of them still haven't opened or they're behind on stuff. So we will send it to somebody else, but we always go to the store closest to them at first. Of course, if they're not a store there, for the most part right now, and it's not a plug, it's just because the whole thing, the way we've been working, make it just streamlined and simple. We've been sending it to cigarbasement.com, because at least we know they have all our inventory. So, and so a few other stores do, but like in Pennsylvania, not all the shops have been open, and the governor's been a little bit strict. There are stores that have all of it, but they just can't sell it. Okay.
What are you smoking tonight?
Gorilla 305, the Lonsdale.
I'm smoking the straight up 305 right here.
305.
Very nice.
That's my baby.
Anything to pair with that?
Well, on this one, so I've got the Gunpowder Irish Gin, okay, with hibiscus ginger ale, which is spicy, okay, and a lime.
All right.
So, I mean, a little pricey for a little can of ginger ale, but okay.
As I introduced you, just before you get on, I look at you as like, you're like the youngest looking, oldest brand owner I know. It's like age has not affected you. You must have started your brand when you were about 14 years old. All right.
Well, I started going, the industry, I got introduced to it formally when I was 15.
Okay.
So, but I started when I was 26. I was over at in Tampa, Blue Torch, sitting down there. These two customers won't recognize me. Well, both of them did it. The way they came about, he goes, "Oh, you're Willie's friend, Willie with Miami Cigars," because we live right down the road from each other, and we've been friends for years. And so he goes, "Oh, you're Willie's friend, yeah." And he goes, and so it was just my birthday, Monday, and they're like, "Oh, happy birthday! How old are you?" I go, 40. I just turned 45. They're like, "What? Hold on. Hold on. What?
45. Now, you started this brand Tarazona back in, what, 2004 or something?
2002. Actually,
2002.
the idea started in 2001. I lost my job out of college. The recession was going on, and it was either go back to school and, you know, continue to study law, or I really wanted to get into coaching football. I mean, you know, I love football, Logan, the whole bit. I just love football. But I knew I was going to starve because you got to work your way up, who you know, nepotism, the whole bit. I had a family to feed. So I knew cigars, or at least, you know, and it was business. So I'm like, hey, let me start my own business. Ferguson Enterprises gave me an 8-month severance package. So really, they built this company.
Oh.
And I really did for 8 months. And it was just a blessing, a true blessing. For 8 months, it was their dime, the travel, everything. I was making about, so if you look at it, I was making about $80,000 right out of college there. And that's in 2001. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So the severance was really, really good. My ex-wife, she had a good job. So we were able to get that done. So why not?
Did you have any family members in the cigar business, or did you just launch into a cigar business just having basically friends that you knew?
No, other than like my grandfather, my great-grandfather smoking cigars. But my great-grandfather met my great-grandmother when he was in the Marines, serving in the Marines down in Havana. So a lot of people look at me like, hold up, what? They're like, what part of history are you talking about? I'm like, remember, I'm older than I look. But my great-grandmother, I guess she was there in Havana. My great-grandfather's Marines. So he smoked, and my grandfather smoked. And then my brother's older than me by 4 years. So he was already smoking then, and he went off to college. He'd come back home. We'd go to the cigar factories in Miami. He put in special orders. You'd come back 2 days later. They had it ready for you. I believe the first factory I ever visited was Ernesto Carrillo. His factory, El Credito, because that's where my brother would go. And I mean, 15 years, this was a long time ago.
Now,
And,
why would your brother go there? So what was he doing?
He would order, you could go to the factory and make an order of cigars. They make it for you, and that's it. South Beach Cigars, but it was really at South Beach Cigars that left an impression on me, the little Cuban dude that was there. And I don't know, there was something about it, you know, the steeliness. I wouldn't be able to tell. He looked as though if he was in his 70s, but I couldn't be sure. He could have been 40 or 50s. He had a worn life. It was a tough life. You could tell right there. Even as a kid, I'm like, there was something more about it. When I shook his hand, said goodbye, I'm like, I could probably do this. But of course, whoever at that age, I'm not thinking about being a tobacconist. I was just really thinking about go to school, law school, that's it, and we'll see what happens from there.
So you never got your law degree?
Never got my law degree. Studied all these law classes. I took one of my minors was in jurisprudence, with my major in government and political science, and then Spanish. I did the Spanish just in case I screwed up on my other grades. It'd carry me over. And those were easy grades to get. But yeah, that was it. But still today, I love the law. I read legal briefs. It's what's born for some people. I think it's cool.
Math
I think
books.
that's what's that?
I read math books.
Right. One of my good friends and former teachers, I don't know how many degrees in mathematics he has already. It's just crazy. And I'm like, I saw some of his books. I'm like, dude, this makes no sense. For him, it's a story and it flows. I'm like, so it's cool that he sees it that way. But I mean, but somebody knows it.
So you
But
you leave school, you got this job, you get laid off from the job, you got this severance, and you start this brand of cigars.
yep.
Who did you actually connect with in the beginning to get things rolling?
Nick Perdomo was one. I would just visit him every now and then. He would give awesome advice. His dad was phenomenal. You know, yesteryear it was different too. You know, Rolando Reyes, one of my favorite. Okay, Rolando Reyes is one of the reasons I actually favor a lot of Sumatra today. Okay, and why I'm not a big fan all the time, or depending on the blend of Connecticut Shade. But that's just as a smoker. But I understood where he was coming from. But think he went a little bit overboard on the Sumatra. But it was funny. You hear him. He would talk about Connecticut Shade as though it was his nemesis. I hate it, and how can it be? What is this even in Spanish? Gilberto Oliva. Okay. Yeah, he was special.
So this is when you were 26, right?
Yeah, a little bit before knowing them, but then asking about the industry and all that. I'm 26 now. Yeah.
And somewhere in between there, you served in the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or after?
Before that, I got kicked out of college, went in, was going to go active duty, but my recruit, Benji Harrison, is actually a customer today, and a lot of folks know him because he recruited so many people in the state of Virginia because I was going to college up there. He had convinced me to stick with finishing up my degree. Okay. And I did. So I actually had to do the National Guard and Reserve. Okay. I don't know how it worked. It was weird. Okay. But I let them handle it. And I finished up in the Reserve when I out-processed.
Did you
when I was
see
done
any
with my time.
action? Did you go overseas?
No. So when 9/11 happened, it was, so we, of course, we didn't do anything until I think it was February and then the summer. Okay. Right. February, they had already sent my papers in because they always get it in advance and all. And I was done. So I was no longer in the Army.
Okay.
So
you got a veteran-owned business now.
Mm-hmm.
And you start this, and the first cigar you came out with was 305?
305.
All right. And that's because Miami.
That's it. You know, that was it. Oh, that's right. I've seen that one. Yep, Miami. Yeah, I love home. It's I learned. I mean, growing up where I grew up, it taught me a lot. Okay,
Now,
it taught me a lot.
You were part of the new surgeons of cigars. And we went through this boom and bust.
Mm-hmm.
You came in after the bust,
yep.
Right? And new brands started coming into the market slowly, these small boutique brands. Mm-hmm. How did you navigate those early waters to get your brand out there and get people to know Tarazona?
I just started visiting shops at first. That was it. I mean, social media isn't what it was today, but I would call shops. I would hear what, the old forum boards. I would see what they were, customers were saying about their stores. It wasn't, and for me, it wasn't to be in every store. I back then, of course, boutique, the term boutique is not the same anymore. Right. I mean, anybody, big company, small company, you can be a boutique, and just I guess how you sell it now, how you blend it, whatever. Okay. But I just wanted to stay. I wanted to be that boutique company. It was never about whether it was the biggest company or anything. Good cigars, make enough cigars with what I have to manage with, because I did this with all my own money. I went to the bank. I had some money on the side. Remember, I had a severance, so I wasn't spending all of that. And but I went to the bank. I got a $17,000 loan. Okay, and that was it. I said, just managing it. Okay, managing everything. But I was fortunate because a lot of the shops that were coming on, they were putting in big orders. Okay, I guess they must have believed whatever in me or whatever I said.
Oh, you had
They were putting in
you had a
big
good
orders.
product that
Yeah,
was
I mean,
made by who? Who was making your product? Was it Nesto? Or?
no, it first started with Oliva. Okay, that's what I really started with, and then of course with Noel Rojas. Okay, and eventually that would come to today, Ventura and Papito. So DR Nicaragua. Even though when we start developing, when we start planning, everything comes out of the DR. Okay, that's proving ground. Okay, but because also both factories have their different styles. Okay, which I do like. And 828 is a little bit more old school type of cigar. The Tarazona lines tend to be a little bit, that boutique-ish, okay, blendy thing. I always tell everybody it's a little bit bougie, but that's what it is. I mean, who are we kidding? That's what it's become for me. So, but that was it. But I started back then. That's why, getting to know Don Oliva, but I would still go to other folks and just ask and, how they were doing things or, how they got into it. When you talk about Rolando Reyes, he'd been in this since he was 12 years old. I mean, everything he had up there, my stars. I mean, it was humbling that he would take the time to just chat with me. This young guy. And it is. And most everybody in this industry really is willing to impart wisdom. Hey, do it like this, or look at this. I remember I got a call one day from a rep. I forget who. So long ago. Hey, Eddie, I know you've been looking for Cameroon. We found some 8-year Cameroon that we forgot was even there. If you want it, it's yours. I'm like, what?
Did you pick it up?
No, it was just too much. Too much. I mean, this was a long time ago, so it was close to when I started. Who do you remember Bert? He was a sales rep
From
for Oliva.
Oliva.
He helped Oliva.
Oh yeah, absolutely no Bert. Yeah.
I will tell you something.
Great,
Boy,
when he
passed, awesome. When he passed away, I cried a good cry. He really took me under his wing. He helped me. Okay, so it wasn't just me. There are reps out there. And remember, the industry has changed now. How we have our structures, our reps, and all that. But Bert really, he would have shops calling me. Hey, you gotta call that. Or hey, call my guy. Okay, he's a good man. Hey, no, forget it. No, you're gonna call him all along right there with a little cigarette, ashing all over the place. Bert was tremendous. So he believed in me. Okay, I'm sure, no doubt, the way he had believed in Oliva. I mean, Bert's just an icon. He's the man.
He was amazing, and it's really good to have somebody like him behind you, and you could see how it's helped you mature and grow in the industry. Sitting behind you is one of the most unique logos in this industry. Okay, talk to me a little bit about how you came up with, or what the symbology of that is. You got a circle, almost looks like an eye. I'm not sure. You got there's an eagle. What does that all mean to you? Does it have a meaning?
Yeah, well, the eagle was going to be a tattoo on my back, a very big tattoo. So really just this. You see on my shirt? It was just going to be the eagle. The Tarazona I had come up with a few weeks ago because I was going to need a logo. Remember, law in my head all the time. It's just there. I've always thought eventually, one day, I don't know when that day will be, the embargo will be lifted. And if I'm around when that happens, don't want to play off of anybody else's name or anything. I don't want to get caught up in that. So while everybody else is fighting that, I'm going to keep on doing business as usual. Okay. So my name, that font that used, I think, is the Castellar font, Castellar, whatever. We tweaked the font a little bit, so the font was alone. And the eagle I was designing one day, and I had a friend of mine do the Tarazona that you see behind me in vinyl, and I was just designing the eagle as a tattoo. And I look up in the O, I'm like, oh, dude, that's perfect. That is perfect. I mean, why not? And I had him do the eagle. We put it in. Perfect. It's gone through a few revisions. I mean, just a tweak on the font. Okay. But the eagle's always been the same. Nothing's changed. Yeah, that was it. But I really wanted that tattoo. I never got the tattoo. I was like, I just never got it. But I love it. The eagle. I mean, if going up to college in Virginia, going down the James River, rafting, okay, every summer with my friends and all that, okay, and with my hashers. Nobody knows what hashers is, you drink and you run and all that, you go hashing. Love it. We'd go down the James, and off the James, you would see bald eagles just take flight. And everybody was always in awe. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful creature. I mean, you're like, that's impressive. The eagle's always been a thing. So it's a beautiful animal.
So then you're moving along, and somewhere along this path, you had a son,
Mm-hmm.
your first son,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of a bit of a celebrity now, isn't he? It's like, you know,
he would choose not to be. He's not me. Yeah. Logan. So Logan's been, I guess he's been in the limelight since he was a kid. I mean, just always been there, whether it was cigars or his athletic ability with basketball and football. And he had received his first athletic scholarship, NCAA, when he was in the 8th grade. And that one was in basketball. And then football started coming the following year, or at least people saying, hey, you got a scholarship, because of course you can't. Rules and all that. But he ended up making it, ended up going to Virginia Tech. Okay, he was a blue chip high school player, 5-star. Ends up committing to Virginia Tech over 20 some odd schools that were recruiting him. And he's their starting quarterback for 3 years. He gets drafted by Arizona Cardinals. And now he's with Washington Redskins. He switched positions. Now he's tight end. And he's doing quite well with it.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I've ever since I learned about that from you, I do actually follow that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Washington Redskins fan, but
No.
I'm a Tampa Bay Bucks fan these days.
You know what's cool about that? And I'll speak as a dad. Like how many, not because they like football or anything like that, but they simply care, you care about each other's families, kids and all, the support, he's gotten. Yeah, I've got folks on Facebook that follow me on Instagram. It has nothing to do with cigars. It's not, I mean, it's just good to see. And we've actually become friends. Melvin Robinson, we met through cigars, but we didn't become friends over cigars. He's now one of my best friends. Boss Man and I started going to games. I mean, collegiate games. We'd go here, there, and that's how it started. He'll wear his ridiculous Giants jersey to a Washington Redskins game. Like, dude, why do you do that, man? But that's how, like, Melvin and I, we met. And I guess it's maybe 12 years later, we're still doing it. Okay, so I love that. I love about not just about what I do, but the support people have given Logan. I mean, he's a good kid. Before he's a football player or anything, he's just a good kid. He's always gotten good grades. He's he's always tried to be the best he can be in everything. Okay, so even now as a husband and father, he's a good dude. Okay,
and your little one's got something to look up to and some good guidance coming not only from you as a dad, but from his stepbrother too.
Yeah, I mean, yep.
It's be a beautiful journey to watch.
Yeah. I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm excited, and I really do like. I love being a dad. It's fun.
I know you do.
Okay, so now this one, I'm like, yeah, buddy. I'm already trying to get him to learn Spanish. Like, what is this?
But you're really your family is actually Spanish as opposed to Cuban or Latin American.
Technically, it would be Spanish because of the date when great grandma was born and all
Mhm.
that. Because she, she was pretty old when I met her. Okay, so she was actually older than my great grandfather. Okay, by a bit. So she was born a few years before the Spanish American War.
Okay.
So even though you could have been born in Cuba, DR, or Puerto Rico, or any of the Spanish Isles, she was Española. I mean, you're still, a
But
Spanish subject.
she lived in Cuba or lived in America?
Cuba. She moved. She
Okay.
moved. I know that from what I know, when my grandfather came back, not too longer, she followed. But what's weird on the census and all that, which this is interesting. I guess because of after the war, wherever the Navy had established itself and administratively and all, she had to get paperwork out of the DR for passage, okay? Which is weird. So you have to follow the paper trail all over. Which it's pretty cool little history. I mean, I'm sure it was frustrating for her, but she made it here, and she ended up. My great grandfather, he was from the Bronx, and she followed suit. She said, "I'm coming," and that's it.
All right, so they've been here. So your family in America has been here for a while.
Yeah, and except my dad's side came over. He came over here in 1969, I believe. Okay, from Lima, Peru. Okay,
Oh,
but which is
Peru.
interesting. Yeah, but he was traveling all over. So it's funny when people meet him, they're like, "Oh, are you from here? Are you from here?" He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, so he was always traveling. I mean, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Texas. I mean, as a kid, he had been to the United States already so many times. So Oklahoma, and I was actually astonished. I'm like, Bobby, wow, you had a good life. Well, we grew up poor. I mean, he came to the States just like over. I'm like, where's all this goodness you had? I left home.
So
So,
you're moving
but now,
along. You've got this brand, and you don't have to get into all the details.
mhm,
Um, but you had kind of an issue, and you faded away. I remember going to a few IPCPCRs, and Eddie
mhm.
Tarazona wasn't there. Always wondered where you were. I remember, one of the great things I remember you putting out years ago, and I'll just share this with everybody, um, is I think it's this. Hold on. Is this wonderful, that's the wrong one, I'm sorry. Is this sneaker that you produced?
Oh yeah, I started using
And let me just,
um
while you're talking about it, I'll pull it up.
no, years ago I came across the Ave out of Venice, and I saw how they were printing shoes on the Converse and Vans and all that. And so I started getting things done with them with our logos and all. Actually, we're going to be doing more. I actually just called like one of my reps, Ty, about the shoe. Yep.
This shoe was really what caught a lot of people's eyes when that came out. I think
Mhm.
that the whole gorilla concept and
Uh-huh.
everything that you had on here, when you came out with the Gorilla 305s, this was a big move for you.
Mhm.
And you had left the industry for a while. And then you came back
Mhm.
um, 2019, and
Yeah.
you came back strong, stronger than I
Well,
think you were before. And you
yeah.
introduced a bunch of new lines.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk a little
Well,
bit about what happened, the new formation of Tarazona Cigars,
Mhm.
who's involved now besides
Okay.
yourself, and what's going on with the brand, and as you move forward, what's your vision?
Well, what happened was, uh, got a divorce. Um, I didn't know if I wanted to continue in the industry. I actually wanted to move to Hawaii, to Molokai. People see my photos. I'm always going to Hawaii every year. Getaway. It's my little escape. I normally do it after the trade show. A week or two after the trade show, I'm like, aloha. Okay, here we
You
come.
smoke cigars in
Um,
Hawaii these days.
it's hard to smoke cigars in Hawaii these days. But when I was going through my divorce, I came very close to selling it to a contingent,
Mm.
and but I had a lot of people start calling me, contacting me, saying, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm just ready for something else." I just really down in the dumps, you know. Nobody says, "Hey, I want to go through a divorce" or anything like that. So I did step away for a couple of years. While in the process of almost really just selling the company for a good amount of money, um, I got a call from a friend in Georgia, who from Miami, but he now lives in Georgia. And he goes, "Hey, I got a buddy who really loves your cigars, and he heard you're trying to sell. He doesn't want you to sell." I'm like, "I don't want to talk to him." I'm like, "No." I said, "No, I'm done. I've got my plans. I've budgeted myself to move to Hawaii. I know what I'm going to do." And he called me. We started talking a bit, and I guess I was really feeling sorry for myself. I mean, that's really what it was. I was just feeling sorry for myself. And I'm finally on a flight coming back from the DR. Who's sitting right beside me? Alan Rubin. Now, I don't know what it is about Alan. Every time he has a real, it's heart-to-heart conversation with me, boy, he just lets me have it. If what, wow. Yeah, I get emotional when I think about my talks with Alan because he's just that guy. Okay, passionate about everything, sincere though, and he's not going to BS you. And he goes, "You know, it's people like you that are good for this industry." I've been told that already before, but he goes, "You know, you can do what you want to do." So to this effect, you can sell, but you know what? You'll be back. You can't help it. You will be back. And I think he said something along the lines of, "And then you'll be working for somebody like me or us and all that." I'm like, hell, hell no. I'm not gonna work for anybody else. But I started thinking about it. I'm like, why do all these people care? Okay. I mean, they must like me a little bit. They must see something. And that's when things started changing. And shop owners were hitting me up. MJ Smith. Okay. MJ, he's like, "Hey man, you're sitting on too much. Don't." And I through that talk in that talk with Mario, I was like, "You know what? Let's do this." And he goes, I want to be a partner." And I go, "If we do this, we are not cutting corners. We're doing it straight by the book. Okay. This is what I want. Okay. This is what I expect of us. And that's it. No more taking things for granted." I think that was it. Not going to take anything else for granted because I was a young guy, you know, and I guess you had a little bit, maybe it did. Maybe I thought I had it all good, but I was neglecting my family. Okay. So I really didn't. Okay. You could say you're successful, but business, you don't have your family with you or the people you love. It's not really successful, is it? Not to me, it's not.
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
Right.
And so for me, that's why relationships do matter. People matter. I don't care who it is. You know, have people you confide in, have people you can go to and speak to and share. Not the whole world, just a few people. But that was it. It happened. I said, "Let's do this." And we hit the ground running. And because Mario, he had been thinking about a line. Okay. And he had introduced me to Papito out of Nicaragua. I'm like, "You know what? Okay, let's do this." Of course, about a year later or so, that's when I went to KJ. I met KJ several years ago at the Delaware Cigar Fest. And he's so squared away, but he was in the Navy. And me being a former soldier, that whole mix, and he's still in uniform. But I always knew this guy, he's squared away. To have somebody like that, okay, with your company, okay, that would be awesome. And he came on, okay, now we're so last year, okay, and there you go. So it's just three of us. We're still running it, no cutting corners, by the book, okay. Essentially, and it's good because we were all in the military, so we understand that dress right, dress. You know, get your ducks in a row. Okay, this is how we're going to do it, yeah. And that's it.
So you took the original 305s, grilled 305s, and you are still making those in the Dominican, right? And then
no, in Dominican. Yep.
Right.
In the DR.
In DR. And then the new ones, I guess Mario was involved in those blends, right?
Yep.
So talk about the new blends that you have.
So the new blends is interesting. When I first started visiting Papito, I couldn't help but notice how, you know, the way he was rolling cigars, it was so much like, and smoking them, okay. It was very, really a lot like my grandfather, the cigars he would smoke. I mean, and I was like, wow. So, but before I started doing any business with Papito, I started calling around, asking, like always. I'm like, hey, can you tell me about this guy Papito and all that? Everybody kept on saying the same thing. Hey, let me tell you something. That guy, he's old school, just to let you know. He's not going to deviate. This is his process. He's going to do it old school, everything. You know, none of the sheet, the rubber pull, the little roller. No, hand, everything by hand. I'm like thinking, I get it, dude. Hold up. And of course, we transition on lines and all, you know, at certain factories. He hasn't changed one bit. And it was crazy. I'm like, I like this. It's not Tarazona Cigars. Not going to be like Tarazona Cigars. It is Caraballo. We're going to start with the 828, and that's when we started with the 828 on the Claro, on the Oscuro, and the limited edition on Silverback. And I've got to tell you, I've actually been surprised, okay? But it's interesting how many people do say, man, these are like, they're really old school. And it is. It's a humble cigar, okay? Very
and
humble.
These are Nicaraguan produced.
Nicaraguan.
So you got two factories now that you're working with, producing cigars. How many shops now have you rebuilt yourself into?
Probably about 300 at our max. I think we were at 600. Okay. But now we're also, with that, we also have around the world now that we're doing distribution. We're actually, we actually had a meeting this morning. Okay. Got a call. An acquaintance of ours in Spain, okay, that actually has the cigars made with our box maker. Actually, our box maker also makes cigars, but for him, he wants to bring our brand because he deals with 31 countries. Okay, so he wants to pick that up, and I'm like, okay, hey, look, that's a no-brainer to me. Let's do it. So, really, even though we have a lesser amount of stores now in the U.S. because that time I took away, it's like we're actually bigger than what we were before, okay? Because we're moving more product, okay? And not because I think because I was spending so much money to go in markets that weren't strong for us. Now it's certain markets that we focus on, okay? And as we see the demand grow in that market, we start investing time and money in those markets, okay? So I'll tell a lot of folks now, you know, depending on where you're at, you know, we can't do an event if it's going to cost us that much money to get there. And we were doing that before. I was like, I'll do an event anywhere. Let's go. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Were you, with your move potentially into the European market, were you looking to go into the back this year?
We actually were going to go.
Yeah.
Okay. We had gotten everything we spoke in last year. It was too late last year because we were still trying to get, you know, everything squared away. But we were going to do it this year. Had everything ready, where to fly into, the whole bit. Because if I'm going to be out there, I want to have a little bit of fun with it.
It's Germany, man.
So a nice train ride, across, part of Europe would have been nice. But it's okay, and I don't mind because now it allows us to continue without interruption, which I think is just best for us. Okay.
Are you looking to do TPE this year?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, we had a great time at TP this year. KJ, Ty, and I, we went and it was good. I was even encouraging a lot of Atlanta's my biggest market. Okay, and I was telling everybody, just go, and it reminded me of the good old days of the IPCPR,
Oh, the
RTDA.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, I miss doing business at a hotel, in the hotel. That was fun. I mean, those were really, really good times. It's not pretentious. It's just, hey guys, okay, we know what we're all here for. Okay. And that was it. Okay. And we did very, very, very well at the TPE this year.
So, every show we have, brand owners, you always have something you'd like to throw into a raffle that they do the following Saturday. You mentioned you had some things. What are you offering up for the viewers today?
So we've got our silverback edición limitada. That's on the Perfecto size, the 10 count box. We also have our hoodies, our cap, and our t-shirt, which I wear almost every day.
That t-shirt.
Not this t-shirt. Probably wouldn't fit most of my customers.
No, but you mean the same style?
No, same style. Hold on. I'll show you which one.
All right. So while Eddie's doing that, so keep commenting, liking, loving the feed, pass it around to your friends if you want to get them involved. All throughout the week, as you know, at the next Saturday, I will draw on the Wheel of Fame who wins these giveaways. And Eddie's been very generous. So those silverbacks, I will tell you, are excellent cigars. Looking forward to people trying those. So we got a hat.
So this is most of my caps, they're all new era caps.
Put that on your head so you can see it.
We got that one there.
There you go.
Okay. And then, now this one here is it's got the breathable mesh in the back. So it's it's got the breathable mesh on the back. Okay, here. So almost like a nylon type. Okay. Almost like the swimsuit. A lot of my Hurley shorts are like this, but with the breathable mesh. Okay. So then we have that t-shirt right there. Okay. So, and sweatshirt on the back.
Sweet.
Okay. And then Tarazona on the side. Oh, left hand. There you go. Right there. And on the back, so it just has our logo. And of course, the official name of our company, it's not Tarazona Cigars. It's our DBA, at least where the brand's concerned. It's Tres Cero Cinco Productions, 305 Productions. And it says in Spanish, Tres Cero Cinco, 305. So
sweet.
That's what we have there.
All right.
And then the 10 count box.
So I'll ask the one question that I ask, most brand owners. Everybody wants to know this for some reason. What was the first cigar you ever smoked?
I believe it was La Finca.
La Finca?
La Finca. I was young. And I got to tell you, they were awesome, though, and one hell of a bargain.
They had a plum note to them, like a plum raisin note for some reason in those cigars I always picked up.
La Finca cigars. And even though I've been smoking cigars since I was 15, going to factories and all that with my brother, it wasn't until I can even tell you when it all made sense to me. Not the culture of cigars and the people and all that, but cigars. Zeno, Mouton Cadet, I picked up from Georgetown Tobacco. I think I was 18 years old, 18 or 19, something like that. I went down there myself, picked one up. I'd smoked it before, but I'm like, okay. But that, I don't know what happened that day. My palate, it just snapped. It just like everything came. And I was like, now I get it. Oh my gosh. And I got to tell you, that really is still to today one of my favorite cigars because it was consistent. The notes, it had a gamey flavor to it, but it had, you know, a nuttiness to it. It was just really, really nice. And I could only find it, at least that I know, I could only find it at one place, and that's at Salsom's place up in Northern Virginia. Okay. She has, I think she still has tons of them in her warehouse in the back. Okay. But wow, that Mouton Cadet was phenomenal. I mean, it was hugely popular at the time. But that's what I remember. But La Finca was my first one. I think I actually got and I ended up getting 2 bundles because they were sold in bundled. Well, they were sold in the box.
That boxes, I actually have a box hanging on my wall, an old La Finca.
I saw that when we went over to your place. I saw. I'm like, boy, that brings back memories. My first, but I enjoyed it as a young man. Yeah, and getting to learn the cigars and all.
Sure.
Of course, now it's funny. People ask me, how did you get it? How did you do this? How did you build? You ever ask me today? Oh my gosh, it's like I winged it.
Well, you know, most people say if you want to make $1 million in the cigar business, you got to spend $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, everybody thinks this is like a glamorous thing, but in the end, there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of expense involved, and you're always on. You know, when you get back in the swing of it, when all of this stuff kind of slows down, back on the road. Man. I mean, how many days are you on the road normally?
Normally, not now, of course. We're now with the baby. It started changing when Sophie got pregnant, but I'll say I was probably getting on the road every week and a half, you know, to balance home life. Because, like I said, I didn't want to make the same mistake. Okay? Never going to do that ever again. My family's too important. I'll tell everybody. You know, don't ever neglect your family. But, no, every week and a half. And being between two major airports makes it a lot easier. So I go in, come out. Same with going down to Nicaragua and the DR, in, out. You know, 3-4 days. Sometimes I have to stay a bit longer. Before knowing that there was going to be a lockdown, or you know, the rumblings of a lockdown, I actually think I took that whole entire week, the DR first, then straight to Nicaragua, back to Florida. Okay, but you learn. I mean, after a while, after, I guess, almost 20 years, so it's not been 18 years, you learn. I mean, you learn, okay, no, that's going to be too much. No, we get it. One of the, I'm going to tell you something. One of the best things I ever learned were economics, finance, and staying, travel, and all. I'm on a flight coming back from Wichita, Kansas with JD, Jonathan Drew. And he looks at me, he goes, collect points. Collect your points. Just stay at the same place, stay at the same hotel, the same rental car, everything. I mean, he goes, just collect those points. Oh my gosh, that's been tremendous. Not only that, he saved me $40,000 that day on the plane with some of my inventory and all that I was breaking down for him. It was funny. So we get to Dallas. He had said on the plane, you got to keep it streamlined and efficient. Okay? Yo, bro. Hey, bro, you got to keep it streamlined and efficient. You know what I mean, motherfucker? Streamlined and efficient. So Nestor Miranda was on that flight with us. They're walking away to go catch their flight. I had to head to D.C. I believe they're heading back to Miami. They're walking away. So you can just imagine Nestor Miranda, and you have JD with his cons, his big old, he's got his cargo shorts on. I don't even remember what he was wearing, and a T-shirt. And he yells, I swear it was like the Breakfast Club. You know, when he comes at the end of the air, while he's walking away, he goes, streamline and efficient, motherfucker. Streamline and efficient. And I've got to tell you something. Since that day, it has been streamlined and efficient. And since then, JD and I had so many talks, but you go learning, and people give you good advice. This industry, at least us colleagues, I cherish the relationships. I really, really do.
You do.
Okay. I mean, it's not just a job. It really is a lifestyle. It is what we do. Okay. We enjoy it. We get to travel. When we travel, we get to stay at people's homes. When we already have a hotel reservation, like, all right. And good thing with points, you can cancel it right there, a few days. And you go, maybe you're in Oklahoma or Wichita. And like, hey, you want to go noodling? So what? Okay, yeah, sure, let's go. I mean, let's do different things.
Do
Hey,
what they do when in Rome,
yeah,
man. Just
you want to go to the Sturgis bike rally? Yeah, sure. Yeah, after that, yeah, we'll just go to Mount Rushmore. I'd never had the opportunity to do that if I didn't have this job. I mean,
right.
I've been so many places. It's been so awesome. So great. So
So what we do now normally get coming up on the top of the hour. So just before we get there, I always like to go through the week on Stogie Press, so people who haven't been on it over the week, I could talk about some of the news and cigar reviews that have come out. So let me just do a quick share of this, kind of talk a little bit about what's happening. So the first thing we did last week is we put out, we recently reviewed the Cavalier Geneve Black Series 2 Toro. Very, very interesting cigar. Rated that a 90. This right here is actually gold foil stuck to the wrapper, and you got to burn through that, which is quite interesting. For those that might want to know, gold has no taste. Okay, that's why they can do that. There's no taste to gold. You can't taste gold, but it's there. All right. Jewish State has continued with their summer rollout. They just recently had their Zoom talking about all the new products that they've got coming out. This past week they announced the national launch of the Herrera Escalade Connecticut Broadleaf Lancero, Tienda Exclusiva. So I'm looking forward to that one. Protocol, our friends at Protocol Cigars, they've come out with their John Doe 2.0. So very limited number.
I like that. I like what Juan just did there. John Doe.
It's fun. I'll just quick open that up for everybody. This is the John Doe 2.0. The whole blend is unidentified. We don't know what it is, but we do know that there's a public viewing that's going to happen on July 11th at Omerta Cigar Company. So they're the first ones to get this in Oklahoma City. So there will be a sighting of John Doe 2.0, and hopefully we'll be able to get one or two, and we'll be able to check those out. Amendola, for those of you that are fans of Amendola Family Cigars, they have now moved to a new factory. For the last couple of years, they've been with Tabacalera Caffey, which is the Caffey 1901, Gabby Caffey's factory. They have since left Gabby, and they've moved their factory now to Aganorsa and to Lozona. So there's two things going on here. For those that are like to understand, they're doing Lozona is going to be making their signature line, and Aganorsa is going to be making their core line. Right now, they told me that they've already committed with Lozona, but Aganorsa, they're just checking out all the test blends, making sure they're all what they expected them to be, and most probable that Aganorsa will be producing those also. They are also rolling these out. They've partnered now with Pravada Cigar Club and Stogie Bird to do early distribution of one of the newest cigars that they've come out with Lozona is called the Cannoli. All right, so looking forward to this Cannoli cigar.
Hey, don't forget the Cannoli.
But Jeffrey did tell me that cannoli is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's got some cream, some orange, and some allspice notes in it. It is a perfect cigar for after dinner, with your dessert. Eat a cannoli, smoke the cannoli, have fun, enjoy. So looking forward to what Jeffrey's coming out with. Um, some more Drew Estate news. Hoyo de Nicaragua, as Drew Estate distributes them, they're coming out with their Cinco Decadas El Doctor. So it's another Vitola in the line. The biggest news, I don't probably have to tell the cigar industry this, but the biggest news of the week was Kaizen and Gurkha. So most everybody knows what has happened with Kaizen. There was this article, for those that might have read it and haven't gone back to it. Obviously, we talk about the basic stuff in here, what was going on. But on June 10th, they had a global town hall. I listened in on that global town hall for the whole time. And while that town hall was going on, I was capturing all of the comments and questions and things that I could from the different patrons and participants, and so many answers that were coming back from the company. The most important takeaway from this is that they realize that the brand is bigger than man, and they're doing right now, according to Jim Colucci, who's the president and CEO now of the company, they are looking for a buyer for Kaizen's 50% stake in the company. They have a 90-day window that they put on that to buy out Kaizen, and so that he would not have any association with Gurkha Cigars. He's currently really hasn't had much association, according to them. He has other businesses that he's been operating, and he's really been kind of hands off on this, especially since they brought in Jim Colucci. So that's the update on that. You can read if you want. If you haven't read this part of the article, you can always go back and look at some of the comments that were being made in there. Crown Heads has announced their annual Las Calaveras, the limited edition 2020. Very cool artwork on the box this time. They're using the color purple. So very cool stuff that they've got coming out on that. Again, there'll be 3 different sizes, and they range anywhere from about $11 to $13 MSRP. So those should start shipping soon. The other thing, which I didn't report on here, but they are also partnering with Oliva, Crown Heads, trying to remember the other companies. There's 4 companies that have teamed together that are going on a road show. They got a big bus, and they're going out. They're going to hit different cities. Oh, Rocky Patel's involved. So they're going to be going to different cities. In lieu of the PCA, they're bringing the show to the retailers. The show is really open to retailers, kind of only. It's not a consumer thing. But it's the idea to bring what's new and introduce it, and they're traveling around the country to go do that. Fratello has finally announced that they're camo bundles. So Fratello came out at TPE with this line called the Camo. It's a value price line. There's 3 different blends in it, and they are now starting to ship these to retailers. They kind of had a holdback because of the COVID activity going on down at the factory. And a lot of things were going out. Drew Estate, the other thing they came out with now is they've introduced the Leather Rose, which is a line with the Deadwood brand that they've been working with. And this is now, they describe this as the spiciest of that line. Actually, I'm looking forward to check this one out, because it's, for those of you who smoke Deadwoods, smoke Fat Bottom Bettys and the Crazy Alice's and Sweet Janes, that these are the infused lines. They got interesting flavors to them. But the Leather Rose is looking to be like a step up on that, maybe, and really spicy. So I'm looking forward to see what the Leather Rose has to offer. we put out the last week's Taking It to the Nub is now posted on here. So if you haven't saw the interview we did with Raphael, it was a
Love
great
that man.
interview. Again, it's out there. It takes you right to the YouTube channel. Feel free to go check that out if you haven't already seen it. And lastly, we had just put out today a review of the Maya Selva, the Villa Zamorano Reserva Soberano. All right, this is their 6x60 extension to that line. That line's been around since like 2017, I believe. The Reserva line. The other line, the actual core line of the Villa Zamorano, I believe, has been around since 2014. But they introduced this over at Intertobac, and they also brought it to Tobacco Plus Expo in January. So I picked up one of those, and very nice. We gave this one a 92. This is actually a very value-priced cigar. And although I didn't get all the pricing on it, because I don't know if these are all sold in the United States. I have to double back with Meyer on that. But this particular one is only $7.50. And this thing was, you can also get these in a, what they call a sampler pack, but it comes in a can that looks like a beer can or a soda can. And they have 5 of their blends in this, and you can pick up that for just $32.50 for one of the cans. So that was very cool, interesting marketing. I found this to be a nice burning cigar, nice chunked ash fell off, had decent burn line on it. So very nice flavors and aromas coming through. So that's the news on and reviews on Stogie Press. Again, if you haven't been to the YouTube channel, check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be great. But all of these Take It to the Nub shows are post-produced during the week. We push it out on Saturday, just before we do the spinning of the wheel for the award winners of that particular show. So Saturday is the recap of the following week show, and then we roll into this at 7 o'clock. Next week, we'll have the second rendition finally with Kareem Fort, who is producing that LA cigar documentary. He's going to have an update on what's going on with that. Again, with all the coronavirus and things that have been going on in the country, there's been kind of a little bit of a slowdown on that, but he's getting ready to launch that. And we should be getting some good updates from Kareem and what's going on. And then on the 27th, we will have, we'll have, and I'm drawing a blank, and I shouldn't be. I get old. We're gonna have Casa Cuevas. We're gonna have Casa Cuevas. We're gonna have Lewis on, and we're gonna get in some really fun conversation here. I'm gonna break any news on that, but there's gonna be some fun stuff we'll talk about, some things that a lot of people don't know about Casa Cuevas that we'll talk about, and go back in history a little bit, and not only his history but my history and some other people in the industry's history. So it's going to be a good, fun show. So that's it. That's Taking It to the Nub today. Just about down to the nub. Eddie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and appreciate all you do for the industry too. Seriously, love it. So,
like you say, you take a lot of time to do this. All these reviews, articles, doing these shows, all the things we do, takes time away from the family. I know I like to get in once in a while, sit down with my beautiful bride and just watch some TV and some movies once in a while.
And her good cooking.
And her amazing cooking.
Hey, you know what? So I had so you've been seeing me post these steaks and all this Wagyu stuff. Okay. I was thinking about that. I told Sophie the other day, I want to start doing more of that. I actually went out today and got an even bigger grill so I get more folks. Okay. Just come on by the house. Let's do this. Because I had Mario and Patty the other day from Cigar Life. I'm like, come on by. And a few customers. And that's what I want to start doing more. Now that I'm in Central Florida and around everybody, so next time you can take a 2-hour trip, okay? Well, I'll let you know about that.
Take a 2-hour trip to go over a barbecue at your place. Okay, I'm in.
Okay, Wagyu, shrimp. Okay, it was good. It was so good.
All
But
right.
no, thank you very much for everything. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, and thank you everybody for watching. Remember, 7 o'clock next week, next Saturday afternoon, we'll spin the wheel and see who wins some good Tarazona products.
Well, take care. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.